안녕하세요. 오늘은 사이먼 교수님과 함께 영어를 보다 편하고 자연스럽고 우리가 더 익숙하게 말할 수 있는 스킬에 대해서 배워보려고 합니다. 교수님, 학생분들께 인사 부탁드려요.
Hello, everyone. It's good to see you all. Welcome. I hope this time is not only helpful, but something that's going to be interesting as well.
그러면 이제부터 교수님께서 스킬에 대해서 이야기해 주실 텐데 아래 자막을 달아드릴 테니 영어에 대한 걱정은 너무 크게 하지 마시고 영상을 끝까지 시청해 주세요.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so let me get directly to the point. What I'm about to share with you is not something that you are going to expect. It's very, very interesting because to improve your English communication, you don't have to focus on English. Now, I'm going to be using some very important research to discuss this. So the first important series of research that I'm going to be talking about is research on communication. Many research studies have shown that communication is about three parts. The first part is the words that we use. The second part is the voice tone that we use when we communicate. And lastly, the third part is body language. And body language includes the light in your eyes, the facial expressions, as well as your body posture and how you may use your hands or other parts of the body when you're communicating. So these three things, words, voice tone, and body language, comprise the communication process. And what's really, really interesting, what's really shocking, is that it's not words that are important. The most important part of communication is body language. How important is it? It comprises up to 70%, more than 2/3 at times. And then the next important is not words, it's voice. The tone of your voice conveys more than 20 to 30% of the information. So then the question is, what about words? How important are they? And we find that they only take up maybe 5% of the whole communication process. So counter to our expectation and what we expect in common sense, when we are speaking, whether it's in English or Korean, communication is not so much dependent upon the words that we say. What's really important is our body language and our voice. Now, if you think about it, the body language and voice are not connected to our heads. They're in fact connected to our hearts. So the whole communication process is dependent on your heart. Not what words you know, not how to use those words in certain types of sentences, how well you speak. It has nothing to do with the communication. What comes as the most important thing is the condition of your heart. So my tip to you is this. If you want to develop your English communication ability, don't focus on the English. Focus on communication. And to focus on developing your communication, ultimately, it has to do with focusing on your heart.
한국에서는 마음이라는 단어가 조금 미국과는 다르게 외국과는 다르게 마음이라는 단어가 머리와 마음의 이렇게 감정에서 함께 합쳐져서 결정을 할 때 그렇게 함께 영향을 주면 마음이라고 표현을 해요. 교수님께서 이야기하고 싶으신 하츠는 지성적인 그런 마음인지 또는 감정적인 마음인지 어떤 하트인지, 어떤 마인드인지 이야기를 해주시면 더 좋을 것 같아요.
That's a great question. Great question. So, in Korean, when we talk about Maum, it actually involves both the head, the brain, the thoughts, and the heart, the emotions, and the will. What I'm talking about today, that part of the Maum is the heart, the emotional seat, the seat of the will, of the intention. This is the heart, the Maum that I'm talking about. So what I'm going to indicate, that part is just, I'll use the English word, heart. Heart, I think, is the best way to explain what I'm talking about. So anyway, can I continue? Do you want to say something?
Yes. How do we develop and improve the condition of our hearts or minds then?
That's another great question.
Thank
got
you.
Awesome questions. So what can we do to develop and increase the condition of our heart, to improve the condition of our heart? Well, let's focus on three things then. I'm going to use an analogy. I'm going to talk about the shape of the heart, and then the size of the heart, and finally the condition of the heart. They're all three aspects of the heart that we should look at. Now, to understand the shape of a heart, we can do this by using tests, psychology tests, and intelligence tests. So you may know of some of them, like MBTI or TCI or Ocean. These are psychology tests that kind of help us understand the shape of our heart. And as well, to support that understanding, there's also intelligence tests, multiple intelligence tests by Howard Gardner, an educational psychologist at Harvard University. It's a very interesting theory that helps us, both the personality, the intelligence tests together work to help us see the rough shape of our heart. And this is important step in learning about ourselves, because once we begin to learn about ourselves and other people, that's when communication becomes possible. Now the second thing is, what about the size of the heart? Well, the size of the heart is really dependent on a few things, but the two most important things are how sensitive you are to feelings, to emotions. Some people experience maybe 5 or 6 emotions during the day. Other people experience 10, 20, 30 types of emotions during the day. And some people can only hold a certain number of emotions. It's too much. But other people can hold a lot of emotions. So these two things kind of talk about the size of your heart. And one of the most useful tests that will help measure that size is called an EQ test. It actually measures more than the size. It also measures your ability, your wisdom capacity, but that's also a part of the size of your heart. The bigger your heart, the wiser you are. There are more emotions you can experience and deal with. So the EQ test is one of the most helpful tests in understanding the size of your heart. So we're going to be using scientifically developed tests to help us understand our hearts so that we can develop our hearts. And then finally, the third is understanding the condition of our hearts. You know, some hearts are soft, some hearts are hard, some hearts are full, some hearts are shriveled or broken or torn. Some hearts are strong, some hearts are weak. See, these conditions are talking about healthy and unhealthy, vibrant and lack of energy, lack of vitality. What kind of heart do you think is going to help improve communication? It's the healthy, the vibrant, the strong, the soft, the whole heart. But the problem is this: not everyone has a strong, healthy heart. Most of us have an unhealthy, hard, maybe broken and torn heart. Did you know, and I'm going to again use another important research that supports this. Did you know that to really have a healthy heart, one of the things that you need to have is the knowledge, actually the belief, that you are worthy of love. Do you believe that you are worthy of love? Because if you do, then you are on the way to a healthy heart. But you know what the research shows? The research shows that more than 80% of people, and it doesn't matter what country, more than 80%. So out of 100 people, more than 80 people do not believe that they are worthy of love. Meaning, they have unhealthy hearts. They struggle to love themselves. Why? Because of life experiences that have put them down, that have torn them down, that have made them feel bad about themselves. So it's so important to realize that we need, for most of us, to move from unhealthy to healthy. And how do we do that? By learning, the first step is to understand how valuable you really are. That you are worthy of love. And what makes our hearts so unhealthy? What experiences makes our hearts so unhealthy? So I've spoken quite a long time talking about the three things, three aspects of the heart that we need to understand so that we can move to developing healthy and whole, big hearts. Why? Because without healthy hearts, genuine communication, real communication is difficult. You can use words, you can say things, but communication isn't really happening. Okay, so I hope that was not too long. Did you kind of understand what I said?
Yes.
Okay.
Also, thank you for talking to us.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any proof that developing in heart will naturally result in better communication skills?
That's another good question, of course. You've got some really good questions. So you're asking me, what's the proof? I mean, it sounds great, it sounds possible, but how could you possibly know that developing the heart is going to have some kind of miraculous communication ability? Well, let me tell you a story that actually puts this clearly, illustrates this clearly. I had a student, and her name was Kayla, and she was the kind of student who could speak through her eyes. her English was not good. She came into my class. She started not in the front, but in the middle of the class. She didn't try very hard. She didn't do very much. And, you know, she was a nice student, but she wasn't the best student, and she didn't try. But she was my student in the sense that I was her academic supervisory professor. 지도 교수. So I was sad because even though she was my student, she didn't try very hard in my class. But she was a nice person. But one day, you know, she came and saw me, and I explained to her situation in the class. And, you know, you're doing not too bad, but you're not doing good. I mean, you're in the middle. You're getting a B. Is that okay? She said, yeah, that's no problem. She had no ambition to get a good grade. And I said, okay, as long as you're aware that I can't give you a good mark, are you okay? She said, yeah, no problem. I said, good. Well, okay, then that's fine. And I had to point out to her that her English wasn't really that good. To be honest to her. And it was difficult for me to tell her that, but the funny thing is, she didn't take it badly. She said, yeah, I know my English is not good. I said, are you okay? You're in my English class. You're an English major. She goes, yeah, I know my limits and I'm not too worried. And I was like, amazing. A student who is not worked up, who's not caught up, who's not, you know, totally consumed by good grades. So I said, okay, fine. And I didn't see her until a month later at the finish. She comes to me after one semester and says, Professor, I am going to take a break. I said, good. Yeah, that's good. You know, one semester of school, take a break, think about what you want to do. That's a great idea. What will you do? And she said to me, I'm going to go visit another country. And I thought, oh, wait a minute. Is it Canada? Is it United States? Is it the Philippines? Maybe the UK, Australia? English-speaking countries, maybe to help develop her English ability. And she said to me, I'm going to Turkey. I thought to myself, wait a minute, Turkey? Oh, not English speaking. They don't speak English there. They can, but they don't really do. I said, Turkey. Why? She goes, I just got a feeling. I said, what? I said, well, maybe she's going on a trip with a friend or boyfriend. So I said, who are you going with? She goes, I'm going alone.
Wow.
And I said, huh? I knew her situation. She was not rich. She wasn't poor, but she was definitely not rich. I said, how long? 1 year. 1 year, Turkey. The airfare is going to be quite a bit. Living this. I said, what about the money? I know your situation. She goes to me, Professor, I have enough money for the airplane ticket. And I said, and then? She goes, and then we'll see what happens. And I thought to myself, if this was my daughter, I would say to her, 정신 차려. I said, what do you mean? How dare you? I said, did you talk to your mother? And she goes, yes. What did your mother say? And she said, well, if you really want to, go ahead. And I thought to myself, her mother is crazy. What kind of mother is that? And I said, surely. And I tried to convince her, look, number one, Turkey is not an English-speaking country. Number two, you're going alone. You don't. I asked her, do you know anyone in Turkey? She said, no. You don't know anyone in Turkey. You're a girl. I'm sorry to say that, but you are a girl. You don't have money. Please reconsider. Please. And she said, well, I understand your concern. And I appreciate your concern. Thank you.
Oh my.
And then I didn't see her next semester. I was hoping she would take the break to maybe go to Hagwon or, you know, learn English or something similar, or maybe save some money for something else. But true to her word, she went to Turkey by herself with no money. How did I know? because she came back a week later. I was teaching class, in my English class. We were doing lots of English pronunciation drills, and students were doing a great job. And then I looked out of the corner of my eye. I see someone by the door, and it's her. 1 year later. So I was like so shocked. And I said, wait a minute, class, take a break. I went over and said, you're back. She goes, yes, I'm back. So I said to the class, today we finish early. Take a break, have a good day. And I grabbed her by the hand, dragged her to my office. I said, sit down, you tell me what happened. And I was expecting, Professor, I should have listened to you. I went to Turkey by myself with no money. And then these difficult things happened. And I learned a lot, but it was tough. That's what I was expecting. But that's not what I got. She sat there with the biggest smile on her face, and she shared story after story after story after story of all these amazing experiences. And I was looking at her going, you're making this up. It's not possible. I said, why? Because you can't speak English. How could you do this? You can't speak English. And I said, did the people you speak with, do they speak English? She goes, not very well. I said, you were there for a whole year. You didn't speak English. You didn't speak English. How is this possible? And then, after my conversation with her, I was like, this is crazy. That's when I saw this important research that said, studies have shown communication is not dependent on words. It's in your heart. And Kayla had a very bright and healthy heart. She could talk to anyone, anywhere, just with her eyes. And that's when I realized that research, the proof, was my student Kayla. So I want to share this with you. Do you want to be able to communicate in any language? English, French, I don't care what language you're interested in. It's good to know these languages. It's good to be able to say them. But the most important thing you need to remember is that communication doesn't come from here. It comes from here. And the more time you spend on your heart, the better you will learn. You will be able to communicate.
That's amazing.
It is, isn't it?
I think Kayla is so cool and brave. You think so?
I think she's cool. I don't think she was being brave. Brave means she's scared of something. She wasn't scared.
Oh.
And I think looking back, she had a very healthy attitude of, she really loved herself and other people. So she wasn't scared of meeting people. Like, who is this person? She never had that. She knew that she was precious and lovable. And she also knew that other people were precious and lovable. So there was no walls. So she could approach people easily and share. And she had that openness that invited people to enjoy time with her, to help her. There's some people like that. You feel good when you're with them because they're so open and so bright and so energetic and positive that when you're around them, if you think, oh, they need help, you'll just help them. And that's what happened. Whoever she met, they just wanted to help her, just loved to help her because she was a great person to be with. And that's because she had a real healthy heart.
It's a lovely girl.
It's a lovely girl.
Yes, lovely girl. And amazing, yes. I'm beginning to see that what you are saying is something we need to really understanding well.
Yeah, that's right. Like, I want to emphasize, like, all of these things about the heart, you may think, oh, it's overreaching, it's too much. But even in the English language, we have these deep insights about how important the heart is in life. Let me share some with you. There's an expression that goes like this: to have the heart of gold. Heart of gold. What does that mean? It means someone who has a heart that is trustworthy, totally reliable, and someone who's unselfish. So if you have a heart of gold, You're someone who's totally reliable, honest, and unselfish. Someone you can really depend on. Now, the opposite to that. We have the expression heart of stone. Heart of stone. Do you see the heart of gold is a healthy heart? It's just shining. Heart of stone is a hard, cold heart. What does that mean? It's someone who's unforgiving. Someone who doesn't care about themselves or other people. So, you can see the word heart in the expressions of English language. When we talk about a heart-to-heart talk is a genuine, open talk. And this is the communication we're talking about. Heart-to-heart talk. We have the expression to have your heart in the right place. Have your heart in the right place is very similar to have a heart of gold. The purpose, the reason, the motivation of your heart is a good one. You know, and to have your heart set on something. I have set my heart on something means you're determined. It's not set your head on something. It's set your heart on something. And then there's another expression, to pour out your heart. What does that mean? It means to share what's inside, whether it's your fears or whether your feelings about someone. It's like, this is important in life. And there's another expression, take heart. What does that mean? Be courageous. Cheer up. You can do it. Take heart. If you have heart, you can overcome. So take it, increase, bolden your heart, take heart. And the last thing I want to share with you is a very important expression. You need to know something by heart. To know something by heart. What does that mean? That's when you really know something. When do you know something? When you know something by heart. Not by head, by heart. You really know something well only when you know something by heart. In all of these expressions, what do we see? We see it at the center of what is meaningful, what is best, is the heart. So I've talked to you about how to speak naturally with people using English. But I'm sorry, I tricked you. English is not that important. What's important is your heart. So if you spend time developing your heart, you will begin to naturally develop your ability to communicate in any language. One of them can be English. And yes, I can share with you other ways to help you develop English. And that'll come later. But the really most important tip that you need to know as you come to this university to start your new life at university is that your heart is the most important thing that you have. And you need to care for it. You need to develop it and nurture it. And you know what? You know what the best thing about developing your heart is? It not only helps you improve your communication skills, and again, I've got research to show it. Research after research after research says if you take the time to look after your heart, to help it develop fully, wholly, healthy, then those who have the healthy heart will find genuine happiness. Genuine happiness. Not the happiness that comes from position, power, money. That's kind of a happiness, but it doesn't really last. The real happiness comes from genuine heart-to-heart relationships with people. And you can only have a heart-to-heart relationship with people when you have a heart. When you're developing your heart. So what's a good thing? She had a wonderful question. How do you improve your English to speak it naturally and fluently? And my answer today will be something you did not expect. I know. It's not about focusing on your English, on your head. It's about focusing on your heart and your communication that comes through the heart, through body language, and voice will follow naturally. Not only for your communication, but for a successful, happy life. The heart is at the center of everything. So, I hope you take today's words with a bit of proper focus and acceptance and think about what I've said. And I hope you will be blessed greatly if you take it to heart. Take it to heart. That means if you accept it.
오늘 교수님 말씀처럼 영어에 대한 또 지적인 그런 힘보다 또 마음으로 진정한 소통을 할 수 있는 우리 백석대학교 학생들이 되었으면 좋겠네요. 귀한 시간 내주셔서 감사합니다, 교수님.
Oh, thank you so much,
Thank you
Eden
so
Rose. Everyone, welcome and blessings of heart to all of you. Bye-bye.